Hey you guys, it's Moonlander back with another horror movie review. And today we're going to be looking at a new movie called Cold Moon. So this movie advertises in the trailer that it's from the writer of Beetlejuice and A Nightmare Before Christmas. And when that movie's actually based on a book written by the guy that wrote Beetlejuice and an adaptation of A Nightmare Before Christmas. And while that might be a good thing, the director is listed in the writing credits as well. And this guy's name is Griff First. Now, he directed Universal Soldiers, Arachnoquake, and Lake Placid 3. So, I wouldn't get your hopes up too high for this one. Now, this story is about a young girl who gets murdered and leaves behind her grandma and brother to run their failing blueberry farm while they try to figure out who murdered her. Now the movie reveals who the murderer is pretty early on in the movie. And the rest of the movie is pretty much about this guy who is the murderer being tormented by corpses or ghosts of people that he has killed. So the things I liked about this movie is I kind of looked at it as a character study of this awful person, an awful banker who makes all of these really bad choices and is pretty much an evil guy. And that makes for a pretty entertaining movie, I think. And this banker also has some pretty funny parts where he's driving down a road and the ghost of the girl he murdered is riding towards him on an invisible bicycle. And instead of veering off the road or pulling over, he decides to ram her. And so that just gives you an idea of what type of guy this is. And it's fun to watch. Now, for the stuff I didn't like about this movie is, I would say the worst part of this movie is the casting. Now, it's full of bad acting and strange performances. Now, this movie does have Christopher Lloyd in it, and I'm kind of biased about him. If I see he's in a movie, I almost automatically assume that the movie is gonna suck. So I can't really take him serious in any role. And after watching him in this one, I continue with that belief. But by far the worst performance in this movie is the grandma. Now this woman is completely obnoxious every time she's on screen. And I don't know why, but it looks like they put a wig on this woman. And I mean, her facial expressions and her behavior are just atrocious. And there was one part when her and the brother of this girl that died are driving along in their car, and me and my wife were just hoping that they drove the car off of the cliff, because both of them just were awful to watch. And I found it really strange that this movie had a cameo of Tommy Wiseau from The Room. And now he's in it very briefly, like maybe 5 seconds, and it's at a distance, and you can't really see him very well, and he's like holding a large rattlesnake or something. But if you look at the IMDb page for this movie, he's listed first in the starring section, and he's at the top of the cast list. So yeah, I guess they're proud of his cameo in this movie, even though you can hardly even see him. And I think it's an awful shame and a wasted opportunity that they didn't take this awful grandma character they made and put her in a scene with this guy. So my final thoughts on Cold Moon is it was fun to watch, but it was mostly fun because of the strange acting performances in this movie. And I would say I think it's safe to assume that the book is better on this one. So there's nothing really special about this movie, and even with the strange acting performances, there's nothing really special about those either. They're just mildly entertaining. And I can imagine I'll probably totally forget this movie in a few days. Yeah, I can't really suggest this one on any level. But I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.